All right, guys. Once again, I want to start today, before we get into any kind of PvP, by going over a PvP build, and potentially two PvP builds that I think are, one, really fun right now, two, gonna be even better when anger management sort of gets like secondhand buffed by the fact that Bloodthirst and Raging Blow are both going to be receiving 30% buffs, whereas their empowered version from Reckless Abandon will not be getting buffed. So keep that in mind. But this is a pretty fun build. It's very single target focused. Mountain when it's Slayer, but it does still have some AoE burst. Then as Mountain Thane, you're going to have a little bit more consistent AoE, which is kind of what Mountain Thane does. But I'm going to go over both versions of the build because I think they could probably both work. I have played the Slayer version. It is fun. I think it's particularly probably good in Arena, but it's even like doing really big damage in BG Blitz, even though it's not really an AoE build. So we'll go over the basics of it. I'll start off with the talents. So talents, the main thing that defines this build is the fact that, one, you're playing anger management rather than Reckless Abandon, and two, you are going with no Odin's Fury, and as a result, you're going to go with the Recklessness grants Avatar, and Avatar grants Recklessness talent, and I am also investing heavily into Thunderous Roar. You can definitely do this build without any Thunderous Roar at all, and I haven't tried it yet, but you could take like every point out of Thunderous Roar and just put like 2 points in Wild Strikes and then 1 point in like extra utility. And you could do that. Like you could probably put it in like Frothing Berserker, and all you're doing is just attacking one target and just rampaging it down. And that could work. But I've been doing BG Blitz, and so I've been keeping the Thunderous Roar, one, for like some AoE damage, and then two, getting the Thunderous Roar effect from Battlefield Commander that makes targets receive 5% more damage from all sources while bleeding from Thunderous Roar. And so every 45 seconds, you can debuff the enemy team for a full 10 seconds to take 5% more damage. That's pretty big, right? It's a pretty big deal. But right, so how it plays is you pretty much just charge in and rage yourself, and then pop a macro that I'll give you guys that just pops Wreck. I mean, you guys seen it. It's the same thing. Wreck Avatar, Dragon Roar, this Blade Storm, and then you just absolutely get to work just hammering them with Raging Blow, and then Onslaught, Executes to stack up your Mortal Strike effect, and just keep hammering them. It's mostly Raging Blow with this build, but with Mountain Thane, I suspect that it'll be a little bit more bloodthirsting. And you'll see, like, Blade Storm is already off cooldown. One more Rampage, and Wreck is off cooldown. You can Wreck Blade Storm people again. And then in, 13 seconds, you're going to have Dragon Roar, and around that time, if you have good uptime, you're going to be able to Wreck with Blade Storm again, so you're getting the idea. It's a very single target pump build, but I love the anger management playstyle. And so now that it's going to be coming a little bit more in line with Reckless Abandon, you're going to be able to play anger management. And I love the playstyle, like I said, especially now that Fury has Blade Storm. It means that you're going to be able to Blade Storm like all the time, right? Like every 20 seconds, like if you have crazy uptime, you'll be able to Blade Storm people down. And of course, Slayer gets the added cooldown reduction, but Mountain Thane does not. And Slayer likes Blade Storm. Slayer like has some Blade Storm buffs, but Slayer's also getting nerfed again. For some reason, they keep nerfing Slayer. So this little buff that gives them 12% more damage taken is going to only be 10. So they're nerfing that down a little bit, which is kind of awkward. So anyway, that's the general idea of the build. In terms of stats, I'm still focusing mostly on versatility and mastery. And then where I can't get versatility and mastery, I'm taking haste mastery. I think playing 2 set at maximum is probably good. You could even play 0 set and it's probably good. Don't really pay attention too much to my set pieces. This is a good set piece. If you want the verse, you could grab the crit verse gloves, but if you just want the best stats, you probably go like helmet and then legs. That's not what I have right now, so don't base it off of my gear too much. In terms of gems for PvP, I just am using the primary stat 5% damage reduction when affected by crowd control, and then just versatility mastery every single other gem slot that I can. I still need to unlock one more. For my weapon, I crafted the Versatility Mastery one with Ascendance. I've gone over a lot of this stuff in videos before, but just in case you guys haven't seen that yet. And then I've got Ascendance, and I've got just my boots or something like a bracer or whatever, giving me the double the effect of an Nerubian embellished item, which is like Ascendance. So yeah, my stats are just as much Versatility Mastery as I can get. Where I can't get Versatility Mastery, I'm getting Haste Mastery. In terms of enchants, I'm enchanting for Strength, like Crystalline Radiance on chest. I'm enchanting for Speed on cloak and bracers. I'm enchanting for Versatility on rings. And then again, sockets are just a bunch of Versatility Mastery. And then for my weapons, I'm just going with Authority of Radiant Power. There is some argument to be made for maybe trying out Depths, because this is a single target build, and there's also some argument to be made for getting Elemental Focusing Lens on your embellishments rather than this, but regardless. In terms of macros, really the only macro that I'm using for this is the good old PvP macro that I've given you guys before, but I'll give it to you guys again. Some of this stuff is redundant, which is fine. It'll just go ahead and cast Wreck. Well, it'll do anything that's not on global will happen no matter where it is in the macro, right? Doesn't matter. And you can only have one thing on global anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can put whatever in a macro wherever you want, unless it's a cast sequence. But this macro doesn't actually make use of the cast sequence. So it'll put you in Berserker Stance. It'll cast Avatar. It'll cast Recklessness. You can split those if you like. That's just not what I'm doing in this macro. It'll cast Thunderous Roar. It'll use your on-use trinket. It'll use a Saltwater Potion if you have one. You don't need to worry about that, but I'll put the macro in the description for you guys, along with the talent loadout. And that covers what? Covers talents, covers basic gameplay and rotation, covers, I guess, stats and macros. But again, just in case you guys are like super new to Fury, you're building Rage basically with Raging Blow and Bloodthirst and Onslaught and even Bladestorm, and then you're spending it with Rampage. As long as you're doing that, you're mostly, you know, hammering Raging Blow. But in terms of higher priorities, like if Onslaught is off cooldown, you don't have any Rage, if you're not Rage capped, then press Onslaught. Same thing with Execute. But outside of that, you're just hammering Raging Blow until you can't press anything else. Then you press Bloodthirst. Rampage whenever you can Rampage. And let it rip with your cooldowns whenever you can, too. It's a pretty fun play style. Just go, 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 go. One thing I want to talk about, though, is not only... Like, I made this build as like a meme a while ago, but I'm like, it's actually pretty good. When they were nerfing Odin's Fury. But you can also do it with Mountain Thane. And this is what I want to try today. Mountain Thane, I make the small adjustment of taking out some utility, because you have to get Thunderclap, and then you have to get move this around a little bit, and then you have to get only this really, but you can move like Crackling Thunder. Like if you need to be able to play Fear Break, you can play Berserker Shout. If you want to have a little bit more damage on your Thunderclap, you could shift it into Thunderclap damage, which will make your Thunder Blast hit harder. If you don't need a Shockwave, again, you can move it into things like what we just talked about, Rumbling Earth or whatever, right? You can move it into Piercing Howl, or the Pummel, or you can do the Wrecking Throw. It just depends on what you're fighting. You can move it into Bitter Immunity, but whatever. I think that the AoE and the extra slow is kind of fun, so you never have to use globals on slowing people, right? It's kind of cool. And I'll take one comment, you're looking much more lean than I remember. It's because I wasn't planning to compete in bodybuilding this year. But 28 days out from the show, I was like, let's do it. So I've been hitting the prep a little bit more aggressively, and I've got the show in 15 days. So I'm excited though, it'll be fun. But anyway, this is the Mountain Thane version. The Mountain Thane version is gonna have just a teeny bit more AoE, and the cooldowns are gonna line up perfectly instead of being split. This could be very interesting because Mountain Thane does a lot of damage with Rampage. Does a lot of damage with Bloodthirst. It's going to probably make better use of the Cold Steel Hot Blood synergy, which, but the other build is like, I don't really need this, but you might actually really like it with this build. So it's going to be really pretty much the same thing. Charge in, get enraged with Onslaught, pop off, maybe drop a Thunder Blast before you Bladestorm, but you're going to get more Thunder Blasts. It's just going to be a little bit more AoE, but you hit really freaking hard with Rampage. You hit really freaking hard with Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst can reset itself, so it also comes in handy as like a tool for like a little bit more passive healing. So it may be actually even be a tankier spec. But in order to really juice your Rampages up, you'll still want to press that for like the biggest rampages possible. But your rampages are going to get juiced up just by nature of having onslaught, right? Yeah, this is a potential big damage option for like solo BGs or whatever. So I'm gonna be playing this today. I'm gonna be trying this out. I think it could be a lot of fun and do big damage. Just looking at details, it's very similar, the damage, but yeah, I'm excited to try this one. But I also wanted to make a video going over it, just to share the builds with you guys, the Slayer version, the Mountain Thane version. I'm playing these talents for right now. Master and Commander is kind of cool. It got buffed, so I wanted to try it out. But yeah, I'm excited to like dive into some PvP and report back with how Mountain Thane's feeling, because I like Mountain Thane a lot. I think this is gonna be a fun build. But anyway, we're gonna get to streaming. We're gonna get to be hanging out, doing some gaming. But I definitely wanted to do a quick run through those two builds, because that's kind of what I'm thinking about playing over the next little bit. And it's a build that I think is gonna, well, that is gonna be getting buffed when anger management gets kind of like side buffed by the changes coming on the 22nd. That's also in drop start, so come up by and get yourself a little bug pet at twitch.tv/Bajheera, which is where we're gonna be streaming, getting some PvP going right now. All right, but anyway, hope you guys enjoy the builds, the macros, the gearing, the enchants, the rotation basics. See you guys on stream. Peace.